Hey guys, it's Evan Uno, and today I just wanted to sort of give my thoughts on the Pokemon Presents, like that little not direct that they had today, because I definitely have some thoughts and some feelings. Honestly, a lot more, I'd say it's more good than bad, and definitely more surprised. I feel like it's definitely in the camp of Pokemon being Pokemon. Like, you think you know what they're gonna do, and you're kinda right, but it's also like they throw in other things to make you say, there's a twist. So let's go over some of these really quickly. At least one of them really quickly, because we gotta get to the beef. The real Tauros meat. Haha. So they showed a bit more on new Pokemon Snap, and that still looks nice to me. We're actually about 2 months away from the launch of that game. It feels like it came really quickly, which I am definitely cool with. I feel like we should normalize sort of announcing games 3 to 5 months before they come out, like not have to wait almost an entire year or more like some other games do. The only thing that I will really say that I hope, and I feel like they'll probably do this, is I hope that some of the environments are a little bit more, I guess, diverse, because from what we've seen like a forest and like a jungle-ish kind of beach, the ocean, and like a desert, and I feel like, I know they're not really the same thing, but to some you might see like the beach and the ocean as being kind of interchangeable, and I guess I kind of hope we'll have other sort of environments that weren't seen in the original Snap, like maybe one that's more urban, kind of, like the closest thing that I think was urban about the first one was the power plant, but even then, that's still very much like a rural cave, but with some, like, electricity in it and stuff. I have definitely seen a few Pokemon that I'm kind of glad are there, because, like, I'm very happy that Meganium's there. I love Meganium. You can send your hate mail at, on the comments. What can I say? I like Plant Dinosaur, man. But yeah, so far, new Pokemon Snap's looking like a day one purchase. Probably not pre-order. Like, I'm not in the mood of like, I have to get this now. But it's like, when the time rolls around, I'll be like, oh heck yeah, let's play some Snap. And next on our list is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I've seen a few people refer to this as BDSP, and a part of my mind always defaults it to being like, it's standing for something like BDSM, but I'm like, no, it's the Sinnoh remakes. It's the Sinnoh remakes. So, like a lot of other people, I definitely have some, I guess, conflicting feelings with this one. But surprisingly, right now, they're more good or neutral than they are bad. One of the things that really, really caught my eye is that this is not being developed by Game Freak. It's being developed by Ilka, or ILCA Incorporated. And they have a surprising resume that they've worked on. They're a very recent studio. They only opened in 2010, but so far they've worked on games like Dragon Quest XI, Nier Automata, Ace Combat 7, Metal Gear Rising, Yakuza 0, and I think they also helped with making Pokemon Home. So already they have a little bit of Pokemon experience under their belt, even if it's not like a traditional game. Well, they're about to make a quote-unquote traditional game, but you know what I mean. And I won't lie, I was turned off by the art style at first, but honestly, this kind of feels like something that grows on me. I know a lot of people are comparing it to the Link's Awakening remake from over a year ago, and I can understand where you're coming from. I think that the Link's Awakening remake looked a little bit more clay-ish. It looked a little bit more like a playset, like toys. But I think that this is going more for trying to translate the Generation 4 sprites into these stylized 3D models. So that's why we have like the big heads. I will admit they kind of walk goofy, because that scene where Lucas meets Dawn in Jubilife City, he kind of looks like he's waddling around, and I think that is sort of an effect, or not an effect, but a stylistic choice from this art style. To add on to this, I believe in the trailer, and even on like one or two of the posts on social media, and even on the official site, they are kind of adamant about this being like a much more faithful remake of the original Diamond and Pearl. So like, it's not necessarily going to be along the lines of like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, where it has like a kind of sort of new story to accommodate the new sort of Pokemon gimmicks, like they did with Mega Evolutions in that game, or like the Primal Reversion for Groudon and Kyogre. So I think that it's an interesting choice that they've gone for more of, I guess I would say one-to-one remakes in terms of story and sort of like town layout, and possibly even progression. I also know that this worries people because in the remakes like Fire Red Leaf Green, well, not so much Fire Red Leaf Green, but Heart Gold Soul Silver, and again Oris, they usually, for nostalgia reasons, they sort of remake the original two, so like Ruby and Sapphire, Gold and Silver, but they also take in elements from the sister version, or the third version, like how in Heart Gold Soul Silver there was still that subplot with Yusin trying to find Suicune, and there was still like the Sky Pillar and Rayquaza in Oris. So maybe they'll do something like that, but in this game, like maybe after you beat Cynthia, Giratina starts causing trouble and it opens the Distortion world, and that's where they start to take more from Platinum. And maybe they'll have like that expanded sort of battle area, like the islands. Like there was Battle Resort and like I can't remember them off the top of my head, but they were the 3 islands. Like that was also the place you would catch Heatran at in, I know, at least Platinum. Platinum is one of my favorite games of all time, so I gotta like do a bit more of a refresher on actual Diamond and Pearl. However, speaking of, I noticed 1 or 2 things in the trailer that sort of, piqued my interest. This might seem silly when you think about it, but I saw a trainer for a very brief moment using a Porygon Z in battle, and you might be thinking, well, of course they would. It was introduced in Generation 4. However, a big thing that Platinum improved from Diamond and Pearl is giving it an expanded Pokédex before you got the National Dex. Because a lot of the Pokemon like Gliscor, Electivire, Magmortar, Frostlass, a lot of those sort of new evolutions to previous generation Pokemon, those weren't available in Diamond and Pearl until you beat the game. So you couldn't like evolve your Electabuzz or your female Snorunt until you've beaten Cynthia and you've gone on to like the post-game stuff. Platinum changed that so you could catch like Magmars and Snowrunts and Electabuzz and Swinub, Piloswine. To add on to that, I assume that this is in Floroma Town. There is a woman in that trailer, or in one of the screenshots that they showed off, that looks pretty much exactly like the woman that gives you the Gracidia flowers for the Shaman event in Platinum, and that's how you turns Shaman's land form into sky form. And of course, again, that was a Platinum-only event for that time. So what I'm thinking is this is already a sort of slight hint that we're getting sort of 3rd version content in the base game, which, if so, that'll quell possibly my biggest fear, because I know a lot of people complain about the fact that if you don't choose Chimchar as your starter Pokemon, then in Diamond and Pearl, you only had one other option for a fire type, and that was Ponyta Rapidash. And so I sort of hope that they give us that expanded Pokedex for these remakes. That's honestly my biggest complaint, and I think that as long as that's taken care of, I can kinda sorta forgive anything else. I mean, I definitely do want stuff like a good aftergame and some more like Platinum representation, like the Battle Frontier or the really expanded sort of resort areas and stuff. But again, just sort of like even out that Pokedex, and I will be decently satisfied. And now we're on to the last one, the big shebang, the really big shakeup. Pokemon Legends Arceus. One of the things I'm really curious about off the bat is, because of the subtitle of Arceus, is this going to be possibly a mini-ish series they're going to do? Like, we might get Pokemon Legends Lugia, or Pokemon Legends Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem, or Pokemon Legends, I guess, like Regigigas or whatever. I kind of hope that we do get like a little bit more of these games, because it kind of seems like they could make a mini-series out of this. I don't know. Just sort of, again, silly thoughts from me. So, onto my actual thoughts of the game. I'm genuinely impressed. Honestly, my impressions of this so far are a complete 180 from that of Sword and Shield's, because even with the very first trailer, with Sword and Shield, I was kind of like, I don't know, this looks like just another Pokemon. Sort of like, it wasn't doing much to differentiate it from the previous games, and I know that I shouldn't expect too much change from Pokemon, trust me, but I guess it feels like they might be more, confident in Legends than they were at the beginning of Gen 8. I will also say that I'm loving the focus on Sinnoh. It is probably my favorite region alongside Johto, and I feel like it was always a region that was just filled with intriguing lore that was just waiting to be sort of tapped into. Because you read all those books at Canalave City in, like, the original games, and they tell you about, like, in the past, Pokemon and people were very equal. They could eat at the same table, and they could even get married. And it's like, that's an interesting world beforehand. And it's like, we might finally be able to explore some of that. Of course, maybe not some of those specific topics, but just like a very olden time Pokemon. Of course, a lot of people are mentioning that there are similarities to Zelda's Breath of the Wild, mainly in like the way that the fields look and the music, at least for that reveal trailer for Pokemon Legends. And of course I see it. I think a lot of people sort of say, like, when is this franchise going to get its Breath of the Wild? And I think what people mean by that is not just in terms of its physical design and sort of themes, but like that sort of idea of jumping up and doing something completely different in a weird way, like starting from zero, but also just advancing so much further. And I think that depending on how this game goes, it could kind of feel like Pokemon's answer to Breath. I don't know. Interesting choice in starters, too. Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott. Most of those aren't necessarily, like, my all-time favorites. I still love them, don't get me wrong. But if it's, like, if they gave me the choice of, like, having Chimchar as, like, the fire type, or if they made me choose Trico as the grass, or, like, Froakie as the water type, I would be like, oh, don't make me choose. I'll probably choose Cyndaquil because I'm such a big Gen 2 guy. I love the other two as well. And I also saw in the trailer there were of course Piplup and stuff that were roaming around. I also saw that you could catch Chimchar, and I'm just like, you can catch starters, like, in the regular wild. I know that you've kind of sort of been able to do that in, like, Let's Go Pikachu Eevee, and to a lesser extent games like X and Y with the Friend Safari thing, but, like, being able to just randomly walk out and catch, like, a Totodile, that's cool, and I really hope that you truly get to do that. The frame rate and stuff seems kind of rough on, like, a technical scale, but I feel like for a game that's not coming out for at least another year, that's to be expected. And I'm not too sure if this is a game that's being developed, like, more strictly by Game Freak, or if they're outsourcing parts of it to, like, another company, because I'd honestly feel a bit more confident if they were outsourcing parts of it, because I guess with a lot of Game Freak's kind of track records for coding and just sort of getting things to run properly, they're not the best when it comes to the 3D stuff, so, you know, let's hope for the best. And I feel like they could always delay it too, because this, again, it feels like they're weirdly, I don't know what makes me want to say they're more confident in this, but it feels like when it comes more time to promote the game, like, head on, I feel like this is something that they definitely want to be, like, promoting, like, crazy. It just feels that way to me. However, I will say that despite some of its sort of technical hiccups, the UI itself looks really cool. I won't even lie. It feels, again, very, like, modern, but also very stylized. And, like, with the black borders in battle, it feels very cinematic. And it also looks like it's not going to hover over, like, one camera angle for an exceptionally long time. Because I know that, like, ever since the beginning, Pokemon's sort of favored that kind of 3/4 from the back angle, and I feel like they've kept doing that for so long because of nostalgia purposes. But I feel like if we get something that makes battles seem even a little more cinematic, then that could really help the game stand out more. Speaking of some of the technical stuff as well, I know a lot about the technical stuff, but is it me, or do some of the Pokemon models look updated? Like, maybe it is just me, but Cyndaquil looks like he's showing his back flame a lot more often, because when they first did the 3D models in X and Y, Cyndaquil, Quilava, and Typhlosion always looked kind of odd, because it's like, usually their back flames are supposed to be on. Their back flames are supposed to be off when it's like they're more calm or when they're out of battle. So seeing Cyndaquil sort of have his back flame on when you're choosing your starter kind of makes me think that they at least changed some of the, like, default animations or poses for some of the Pokemon, which I can see them doing, especially after the backlash from Sword and Shield. Also, speaking of these sort of starter Pokemon, one of my friends brought this up as sort of like a crazy what if sort of thing, but what if Decidueye, Typhlosion, and Samurott get new forms. And I know that sounds like a bit of a stretch because in the broader sense, those are like 3 kind of random final evolution starters and stuff. But if they are sort of going for these are 3 very special and important Pokemon to the story, then I could see them wanting to take advantage of making them more unique. For example, that same friend said, what if the new form for Decidueye is like based off the regular stilt owl, because the reason that Decidueye is part ghost is because the stilt owl more recently went extinct. So what if this was that time when, like, by Pokemon standards, Decidueye was kind of, I guess, alive-ish, or at least not part ghost type, so he would still keep that grass-flying typing. I know to some it might sound kind of silly, but hey, you never know. Another thing that really, I guess, struck me as interesting is because, of course, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl's remakes are obviously coming out like November-ish of this year. That's when Pokemon games typically come out nowadays. But they said that Legends Arceus is coming out early next year. And if they keep these dates, that'll be like the shortest period of release time for a sort of main series new Pokemon game ever, I think. Because I think the last time was like in between Fire Red and Leaf Green and Emerald. That was about 8 months for Japan. So that'd be interesting if they were able to release 2 like decently sized Pokemon games back to back. But anyway, that's pretty much it for my thoughts on the Pokemon Presents. Again, I'd say it was more good than bad. And honestly, that makes me very happy because I still think that Pokemon is my favorite Nintendo property. Like, I've sort of lived and breathed Pokemon ever since I was 4 or 5, and it's consistently been one of my favorite franchises of all time. And of course, I want to see it do well. And these, I think, are really cool announcements that will hopefully shake up the game. I can almost guarantee you that these aren't the only things they're going to be doing for Pokemon's 25th. We'll probably get one more, like, smaller game announcement, maybe 2. Personally, I'd love it if they ported the older Pokemon games, like Gens 1, 2, or 3, to the Switch's eShop. And, you know, maybe port XD and Coliseum there, too. Oh, that would make my year. But I doubt they're going to do that, at least right now. That's really all I have to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you excited for the DP remakes? Are you excited for Legends? What are you excited about? What concerns do you have? What do you want to see? Just let me know, because I'm excited for these games. I won't even lie. Anyway, this has been Evan Uno. Take care, have a wonderful day. Train on.